Sustainable.
Sustainable. All right. All right, we'll call our meeting to order. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our regular commission meeting. It's Wednesday, July 17th. I will open our meeting with public comment on any subject that's not on the agenda. The commission has jurisdiction over. Is there any public comment? Okay.
Good morning. Brittany Willis, Broadwater County DES. WILLIS. Okay, so just a little update on the fire as of this morning. First off, Bill Malone has been a great deputy for DES. It has been very helpful to have him, so I just want to say thank you for allowing me to.
Perfect.
Yeah. So we are at 14,250 acres. There are 616 personnel on this fire, and we are at 23% containment as of this morning. Their fire lines are doing really well. They're pretty confident on the south end that's by the lake, Jimtown Road and Horse Gulch Road, and they're working their way up and over. They want to be 100% sure about containment before they throw out containment percentages. So that's what they're doing. They don't want to say they've got containment and then something happen like it's happened twice so far. So.
Okay. So I was looking at the map this morning. The area to the east, is that just kind of rough country they're having a hard time getting personnel into?
Yeah, so up in the northeast corner, it's strictly handline only. Yeah. So, and aircraft if they can get in there, but so that's the section of the fire that they're worried about the most. They did have a spot fire, I believe it was 126 acres a couple nights ago. Okay. So they have sent quite a few crews up that direction. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Brittany.
Yep.
Any questions?
I don't. Thank you very much.
All right. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? All right. I think the commissioners have a few things that we want to talk about. I will start out actually with as a reminder that the Lineman's Rodeo is going to be this weekend here in Townsend. That's the first time that it's been here. I think it'll be an exciting event. It's a family event, and so I would encourage everyone to go out and support them. The actual events will start on Saturday, July 20th, but there is on July 19th at 5 p.m. they have an opening ceremony where they get together with food vendors, and they then have a memorial, I think around 7, for all the linemen that have lost their lives in the line of duty. So. And it's free of charge, so can't beat that. So if you have an opportunity, get up to the fairgrounds this weekend, see what's going on, and support them. It sounds like they have a raffle, which is pretty good. The grand prize is a Recon Striker 80 with all-wheel drive e-bike, so that must be pretty cool. And then a Kimber 308 Winchester rifle, and also a 36-inch Blackstone griddle. So. And a third place, a steel chainsaw. So there you go. Opportunity to go have some fun and maybe win a prize. Another thing is, so this is something we don't do very often, but in this case we've made an exception. There was a letter placed in the paper last week on July 12th that actually was misleading information, information that was incorrect. A lot of allegations made towards elected officials and people in our community, and a lot of the statutes that were quoted were the wrong statutes. They were municipal statutes. So we have drafted a response letter, and we will read that this morning. Commissioner Randolph.
And I believe our response letter will also be in this week's MT43 news, but I will read it. Mr. Schritz, the county commissioners and related departments appreciate feedback. In fact, we continually request and invite public comment in written form and at meetings. We encourage comment on all manners of county activities and documents, and those requests are made in the newspaper, online, and at meetings for weeks or even months in advance of a board decision. Constructive, thoughtful comment is always considered and influences many outcomes. Our exception to your commentary is the blatant allegations towards neighbors and friends, some of who you've known since childhood. Who are county employees and elected officials serving this community. You are entitled to your opinion, but it is bold, negligent, and dangerously close to defamation to make accusations that county employees receive, in quotes, slushy, ambiguous kickbacks, end of quote, and receive, quote, financial money and trinkets, end of quote, for preference in subdivision process. Additionally, you reference the incorrect Montana Code annotated in your derating critique of the draft regulations. You may have valuable feedback regarding our subdivision regulations, and your comments will be taken into consideration. However, their substance is much harder to recognize through your self-proclaimed, quote, snark, end of quote, accusations and general unfounded claims of corruption. Sincerely, the commissioners.
Thank you for reading that. I guess I'm not going to say any more about it. It was
Neither am I.
just very unfortunate. Okay, we'll move on to our first agenda item. Discussion decision, Community Development Director, Planner Nicole Brown. She is not here today. She is sick, so we will take care of that. Task order number 12, subdivision EA review, Montana Crossroads, Broadwater County on-call engineering services, the Great West Engineering, project number 1-20244. I will read a portion of the task order. Task order number 12, and this will be for, let's see, at the request of Broadwater County's Planning Department, Great West Engineering has developed this scope of services to support the county with review of the Montana Crossroads subdivision application hereafter the developer. Our services are focused on providing hydrology-related review for selected requirements of the developer's application package. The developer has completed and submitted their design report, which includes relevant environmental assessment and hydrologic information. Great West Engineering also has reviewed the letters provided by the county to the developer, namely the county's March 12, 2024 letter, indicating the county found the application complete. However, it was noted that the MACO recommended best practices shall be followed and the response by the developer to the county. So this is something that we are kind of taking the lead on, trying to help our developers meet the new requirements for environmental assessment related to hydrology information as we make our decision. And we have one other developer that is in the same situation. These two particular developers are unique. They are within a permitted well, whereas others are exempt wells. So their situation is a little bit different. But this was in talking with Kaylin and our planner, Nicole Brown, the commission felt that this was the best way for us to try to move forward and see if we can make headway in this new ruling that we received from the court. So this task order is for $4,000, and Great West Engineering already has been working on this project. So we're just finally following up with the paperwork to solidify that. And hopefully, we're hoping maybe the end of this week, beginning of next week, we'll have that information. We're all crossing our fingers so that we can help everybody move forward. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, you covered it in great detail. Thank you.
All right, very good. I guess if there's no more comments or discussion, Is there a motion?
I would move to approve task order number 12, subdivision EA review for Montana Crossroads with Great West Engineering project number 1-20244.
All right. Motion has been made. I will second that motion for the task order number 12, subdivision EA review, Montana Crossroads, Broadwater County, on-call engineering services, Great West Engineering project number 1-20244. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And if I could, Mr. Chairman, I think we failed to, Commissioner Rickmeyer is
Oh,
taking a
yes.
few days off and she's out of town.
I'm
I think we
sorry.
failed to mention that.
I did not make mention of that, so yes.
She will be
Hopefully
back in the
she's-
office Monday, I believe.
Hopefully she has fun. Okay, next on our agenda, Jessica Bushnell, Noxious Weed Coordinator, Townsend and Three Forks Mosquito District Manager, a department update. Thanks, Jessica.
Good morning, Jessica Bushnell, Broadwater County Weed and Mosquito Coordinator. So we'll start with noxious weed side. Our crews have covered all of the county roads so far, and we are back doing touch-ups. So if you see them out, give them space. No real new invaders as far as the weed department goes, and things are rolling really smoothly on that side. As far as mosquitoes go, check the county website today and our county Facebook page for the Townsend and Three Forks Mosquito District. I will have some really cool images of trap counts that are going to show the difference between areas that have been treated and areas that have not been. So it really does show the difference that our department is making in the mosquito counts. Our trap results have been given to Carroll College for testing for West Nile. We've had no positive West Nile cases in Montana yet, and not a ton of West Nile carrying mosquitoes in Montana. So that's really positive for us. How I'm expecting we will see those tick up as the heat increases over the summer. West Nile typically moves east to west, so we'll start seeing it on the eastern part of the state before we see it here in Broadwater County.
I know you showed us those trap counts yesterday. It was pretty amazing.
So we set a trap as a courtesy on the wildlife management area, and the wildlife management area is not treated by the Townsend Mosquito District. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have 43,000 mosquitoes in that trap. It looks like kind of our average for years in the past. Yeah, I mean, our bags are, 4 inches by 4 inches. They're not real big. And then we have a trap that we set on the mill property just outside of the wildlife management area, and we had maybe 50 mosquitoes in that trap. It's impressive.
And I think that was just from one evening, right?
One evening, yep. So we trapped from about 8 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning.
Yeah, it's
So.
incredible. All right, we're doing great work. Thank you for that.
I have a question. Jessica and I have talked about this in the past, and some people complain that we don't spray in where they happen to live. Can you explain?
Oh, yes.
that?
So mosquito service is not countywide. So the district boundaries are on the website, but basically it goes up to a little bit beyond Cook Mansion into a little bit of Lakeview Manor subdivision, and then over on the backside of the lake to a little bit beyond Delger Lane, and then about south to Shelley Lane, and encompasses the town of Townsend. But areas like the silos are not in the district, and they do not receive treatment from the county. If anybody is interested in leading the charge on becoming part of the mosquito district, I am happy to help them with that process. But it has to be a citizen-driven.
All right. I know we've made a few attempts in the past to do
Yep.
that, and always fallen short,
Yep.
but I know they could probably benefit from it, so.
Yep. So yeah, we just need some people motivated to take charge.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
I don't know how many.
No, you can do weeds as well.
I just did. I told you we did all the county roads.
Oh, that's it? That
Well,
was the report?
Well, weeds are going smoothly. We had no
All
new
right.
invaders. We sprayed our roads.
Were we contracted to do any of the state roads this year?
So our contract with our provider expired at the end of last fiscal year.
Okay,
So we are going to assess how much of each road, like what we want to do as far as a department. I don't know if we'll do all of the county or state highways. We do have that highway contract still with the state. Right now, I'm thinking that we're gonna do 437, 284. I think that we're gonna stay off 287 to start, just with the amount of traffic
Yeah.
and the people
there's a lot of
It's
traffic.
not ideal.
so, and we have enough to do on our own.
Sure.
But I think we can hit those smaller side roads that are a little less traveled.
All right, perfect.
I have another question, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Will you be spraying for the Lineman Rodeo and for the fair?
So,
Mosquitoes now.
Yep.
Sorry,
Back to
just
mosquitoes.
know.
So we set our schedule for this week, and we are going to fog the zone that includes the fairgrounds on Thursday night. And then after discussion with Jessica Erickson with Fair, we're going to probably fog before the fair on that Tuesday, when there's not anybody to interfere with after the dog show.
Perfect.
So we'll provide service, but when there's not a bunch of people around.
Thank you for doing that.
I know it makes a huge difference.
It
It
does.
really does, so, great. I don't have anything else.
All right.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jess.
Next, Allison Costo, MSU Extension Agent and County Fair Update. Allison,
Good timing. All right. Good morning.
good morning.
Thanks for letting me do an update. I thought I would start with just a general extension update, highlight some of the things we had going on in the spring and kind of upcoming programs, and then also can just touch a little bit on fair. And then Jessica's going to come in and give a kind of an open class general fair update as well. So just kind of starting with some extension program updates in the area of agriculture, natural resources, and horticulture. We had a really busy spring. I hosted a first ever advanced gardening course that was kind of geared towards people with gardening experience. It was a 4-week course. That class filled up with 25 participants. That was the cap on the class, and it filled up. Then we're doing a follow-up with that class next month with a summer like IPM pest management type activity tour, so it should be fun. So it's coming up on August 20th, which is again a kind of an offshoot of that class. We also hosted a vertebrate pest workshop in June, and that was a partnership with the Montana Department of Agriculture. We had over 30 people in attendance. That class also filled up. It was very well received, I felt. Daryl was there.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I thought it was great. It was a very easy class to organize. The Department of Ag was wonderful to work with, and so it went really well. Kind of one of the outcomes of that class that I think is pretty cool is there was quite a bit of interest in a kind of a different style of gopher trap, and so after doing some research on it, the manufacturer for that trap is out of Canada. And they're pretty difficult to get in the U.S. And to ship them from Canada for just like one person to ship a couple traps from Canada is kind of cost prohibitive. So I kind of agreed to coordinate an order for our county. And so I ordered 100 traps, thinking I had quite a few extra. And I already have 93 of those traps spoken for. Yeah.
Yep.
So pretty excited. They came in yesterday. So
Oh,
I
they
haven't
did?
had it. Yeah.
All right.
So get yours, Daryl.
Okay. I'll sign up right away.
Yeah, they're here. I haven't got an email out yet. Fair's here, so it's, we're getting busy, but
Cool.
get that out. So they're here. So excited about that. Hopefully we can make a dent in the gopher population, which is exciting, I think. And if there's interest, I'll put in another order too, because I was hoping for a few more extra than 7. So we'll order more if needed. Let's see what else. Summer activities have been busy. Earlier in the spring, the no-till drill was out quite a bit being used. One thing I do throughout kind of early summer, early to midsummer, as I do monitoring for the wheat midge with local producers. We have a hot spot on the backside of the lake we've been monitoring for a number of years, and through that monitoring this year, we actually, for the first time ever, determined that the population of wheat midge hit the economic threshold, which basically means that you hit the point where it makes sense to spray. And so that particular grower went ahead and sprayed, and I noticed a big drop in the midge after they conducted that spraying. So we'll continue to monitor over in that area. I haven't really found a lot of wheat midge in other parts of the county. It's just kind of a hot spot over there. So we'll continue that. Lots of plants and insects. I swear, and I'll know by the end of the summer, that this is like a record year of samples coming in the office for insects, pests, plants, trees, you name it. We've had a ton of stuff come in. I joke with Jessica, I'm like, I'm afraid to look in my office because there's a plant sitting on my desk. I even had a plant dropped off one time that didn't even leave who it was from. I still don't know. It was a tree. But one kind of cool thing that we did diagnose, I don't know if it's cool or not, this summer from an insect that came into my office is we discovered a new insect in Montana, found here in Broadwater County. It was a type of ant that Billings Clinic Broadwater had in their facility, and they thought it was a little strange, and so they brought it to me, and we sent it off to the MSU Scudder Diagnostic Lab, and they identified it as a new insect in Montana. It's not going to be, I don't think, a big pest issue. It was kind of bothersome for them. They've since cleaned it up and taken care of, but just thought that was kind of a fun little outcome of that process. So. Upcoming programs, so we have Backyards of Broadwater coming up on June 27th. That's a lawn and garden tour. We were selling quite a few tickets for that, which is a fun one. If you've not, we've added, kind of increased the educational quality of that program this year, and we have Patrick Plantenberg doing a couple presentations on caring for and planting young trees, because we have lots of questions. Both Pat and I get a lot of questions on dying trees, especially young trees, and getting them to survive their first 10 years of their life in Broadwater County. It can be a challenge. So we've added that. I already talked about the Advanced Gardening IPM Talking Tour. And then coming up this fall, already on the calendar, is a pest management update, which is on October 16th out at the 4-H building. This is the last year in the cycle for pesticide applicator credits for private applicators in our county and region. And so that particular event will give them up to 6 credits if they need it. So we're starting to work on that for the fall. So that's kind of wraps up my horticulture, agriculture programming. We also have some things going on in the area of community and leadership development. Yesterday I released the application for year 4 of the Big Sky Big Leadership Program. We just wrapped up year 3 back in May, and we had 14 graduates, which is the largest set of graduates we've had from that class. This is year 4, which is hard to believe. The applications are due the end of August. It starts September 13th, and it runs once a month on the second Friday from September to May. So if you know someone in the community who wants to advance their leadership skills or just learn more about the community and the county, it's a really phenomenal program to gain some of that insight. Also been working throughout the year, slowed down a little bit this summer on childcare in our community. We've been fortunate enough to get 2 grants for $5,000 each through Montana Child Care Business Connect to help address the childcare desert that we have here in Broadwater County. We've made some pretty big strides just by helping network and connect some of the dots in the community. There's been 2 new licensed providers that have opened up since January 2024. One was in January, and the other one just opened up last week or 2 weeks ago, a licensed provider. And then we have 2 more that are kind of in the beginning stages, both in-home providers of getting licensed, and hopefully continue through that process. So we're very excited about that. We do have some goals for that particular group to kind of continue to help address that issue and communicate those challenges with the community. So we'll probably try to pick that up a little bit more this fall. We've slowed down a little bit this summer. And then last but certainly not least, I did want to give a 4-H and fair update. And 4-H in general is doing quite well. We're back to pre-COVID numbers. Our current enrollment is 143. We were in the 140s prior to COVID. We've had a busy summer. 4-H camp was at the beginning of June, which went well. We are going to have an issue with camp dates, though, moving forward into 2025. The school has changed their calendar to go into June, which effectively overlaps 4-H camp. So we're trying to address that issue. Moving 4-H camp is not easy because there's lots of factors that affect that. And so we're looking at what the options are, if any, about moving camp. If not, I'm not sure what we'll do, but we'll address that when we get to that point. Then couple weeks after camp, we hosted a 4-H interstate exchange with Pennsylvania. And so Angie and her daughter were a part of that. So we hosted 15 kids from Pennsylvania. They came here. They stayed with host families in our program. They toured sites around the community and area of our state. And I think they had a great trip. Our kids and probably their kids were exhausted. It was a long and busy week, but it went pretty well. And then now our next big thing is fair. So our fair entries closed a couple weeks ago. We have about 110 4-H members participating in fair, with over 750 entries in 4-H alone. And so we're also sitting around pre-COVID numbers for fair as well. We have a very active growing program. Encourage the public to come and take in some of the 4-H shows and activities. We kick off with our 4-H shows on Tuesday with the horse show and dog show, and then starting Thursday afternoon, we kind of shows daily. So come on down and support the 4-H kids. We will have a cat show again this year and pocket pets. It's been a few years since we've had cats. And then, of course, all of the other usual activities. The sale is on Saturday afternoon. So you don't have to bid, but you're welcome to come support the kids, cheer them on. If you want to throw a bid in the ring, you're welcome to do that too. So we'd love to have the support from the community for those activities. So, and Jessica will give a quick kind of general fair update. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't. I mean, you're doing amazing work, Allison, and I know that our community is better for it. So thank you.
Thanks for that.
I would completely agree with that statement. I just want to endorse the Big Sky Big Leadership Program. I've had the opportunity to speak there a couple times as part of a panel, and I wish I could take the class. And even if you are never going to lead a group or be in any board position, if you're new to the community, it's a really good overview of everything from community, from ag to business to school to development. We support it with sending any interested employees to it. But anybody in the public, I just think if you're new to this area, it would be a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Okay, thank you for giving me the time to speak this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. Jessica Erickson, Broadwater County Fair Manager. So I'm going to kind of go over some of the open class portion of the fair. You know, there's 4-H fair and there's open class fair, separate but the same kind of. We have a few articles that went out the last few weeks in MT43 News about some of the events and our open class exhibit entries. We have some ads going out the next couple weeks. We're going to do an insert on July 26th in the newspaper with the fair schedule and highlighting some of like the contests and events that we're having throughout the weekend. Our fair number entries were a little bit down this year. We went down by about 100 entries. Some of our departments and classes went way up though. So it's weird, they kind of fluctuate. Like we're way down in photography, but we're way up in quilts. But we do have the potential of getting more entries because we do accept horticulture entries the morning of. They don't have to pre-register for horticulture. So we'll probably get another, I would say 40-ish. Depends on how everybody's gardens and flower beds are doing. We are doing really well for vendors. So Val Hornsfield is our vendor supervisor. And we are full of food vendors. We have been maxed out. We're maxing out at 6 food vendors this year, and we've had all of them on our schedule and confirmed for months now, pretty much. And we've had a few calls of other ones that have been interested too. Commercial vendors, we're up this year as well.
I have 16 on my list, and I sent out 3 commercial vendor applications yesterday. So usually that building is kind of empty, but I think this year it's going to be pretty full, so it'll be nice. We have kind of a general schedule of events. There's posters hanging around town. I'll give each of you one of our copies of our posters.
Speaking of copies, you have a new copier. Yay.
That was a big deal internally.
So as you can see, it's a pretty busy week. We have a lot going on. So this fair poster does kind of, I put rodeo events on here and 4-H events, and so it is kind of full. But these are 11 by 17 posters that are hung around town that Action Print from Helena donates to us every year. So they also have, this highlights our Under the Tent entertainment, which is some of the entertainment that we're able to provide due to our sponsors. So we are having a J-Rock Jewelry is hosting a class on Thursday afternoon. Stoke and Teddy Lewis, who is now one of our open class superintendents, is doing a ceramic and pottery demonstration Friday morning. We have 2 local guys coming to do some music under the tent, Travis Reagan and Jasper Eshelman. Julianne Ferris, who's done a couple paint parties here in town at the brewery, is coming out Saturday morning to do a paint party under the tent at the fairgrounds with a really cool boot with like flowers coming out of it, because our theme is the cowboy boots and country roots. Last year we tried to do this, but she didn't have enough people signed up ahead of time. We kind of advertised a little bit better this year, telling people they do need to advertise ahead of time, otherwise if she doesn't have a minimum number, she just doesn't make the trip. Fair Board is sponsoring 2 different contests this year. We're doing our pie eating contest again on Saturday, which was kind of for our first year last year, I think it was a pretty big hit. We have 4 classes, we have 4 age groups that we sign up, 5 participants in each age group. They each get a slice of pie, fastest person wins, and we do cash prizes. So it was like a $25 prize, I think, for the winner for each age group. So we are doing that again this year. We're also sponsoring a boot decorating contest where people can bring in a boot on exhibit entry morning, which is Wednesday, July 31st, and we're doing cash prizes for those as well. We're planning on using those to help decorate the building, so they'll be on display throughout the whole weekend. So just trying to get some people involved. If they don't necessarily want to do an entry, they can still do this, and brings people through the building to look at them. So
I got talked into doing the boot, and so if I can decorate anything, you all can too. Because that's not my strong suit, but I'm doing it.
One big change that we're doing this year is we're changing the night of our concert. So that had some logistical challenges. Wednesday nights concerts just weren't getting very many people in attendance, and so we're trying it Thursday nights. But however, due to that, we can't be in the arena. And so we're setting it up out in the vendor area, because they do have a youth rodeo Thursday night from 6. It should wrap up about 7:30. So we'll be set up in the vendor area, but therefore we can't really rope it off or fence it off and charge any admission. So it's a free concert, which is also all of our sponsors that we get help with the fees on that. So it's Blue Belly Junction. They're a band out of like Manhattan and Belgrade. So there's quite a few people actually now that I've been mentioning it. They're like, oh my God, I love them. So I hadn't heard them until one of our open class superintendents was the one that actually brought this band to our attention. And then the board kind of listened to everybody or to some samples, and that's who they decided to bring in. So another thing with that is there's no real seating. We will be able to turn around some of the bleachers from the pavilion and pull them over a little bit for that, just for the concert time once all the 4-H shows are done for the day that day. But we're encouraging people to bring lawn chairs and blankets. Okay. So I think that's about it. Any questions?
No, I mean, it's always kind of surprising how fast it gets here, right?
Oh, yes.
So.
Yes, there's a lot to do, that's for sure.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
It'll be fun.
Thanks.
Right, thanks, Jessica. Okay, next on our agenda, TJ Gravely, Public Works Director, Road Report.
Good morning, Commissioners. TJ Gravely, Public Works Director. So this morning I'm going to give you an update. It's been a while since I've been in here for the road side of things, and as you guys well know, I'm in here an awful lot on the other side of this. So right now, we've pulled all of our graders out of the mountains, and I think more as a safety concern with what's going on the north end of the valley with the fire going on. I don't want to be the one that's going to spark a rock and start another fire. So we have pulled our graders out. Right now, with that, we have brought on our seasonal employee for our mowing. Our mowing has started as of Monday, and they are in the Crow Creek Valley right now. I look for Crow Creek Valley to be pretty much wrapped up by the end of the week, and they'll move down to Three Forks. The reason we started there is we had a little bit of work we had to do out there to mow up, so we just left the machine out there. They'll work in the Three Forks area, move back up into the area around Flynn Lane, and kind of work north from there. That brings me to MAG. This year we have done, to date, we've done about 6 miles. And when we pick roads for MAG, and what we were trying to do is we were trying to concentrate on the heavily traveled roads because it's the most concern moving forward as a maintenance nightmare. Right now we have done, I'm trying to think, 437 and Lower Deep Creek. Lower Deep Creek has been done to the intersection of Flynn Lane. Right now we're looking to expand quite a bit more. For next week, we're going to be doing a bunch of magging down in Three Forks on Tuesday. Pretty much most of Three Forks will be taken care of by Tuesday night. Thursday, we're going to do the Beaver Creek, Filson area. We've got a little bit of work we need to do back up there before we can get the mag truck in there. What I anticipate moving forward with that still to come would be Flynn Lane, Goose Bay, Ray Creek. The 2-mile run on Ray Creek. That, I don't know if you guys have driven any of our mag roads, but they're, I'll be conservative saying they're a 60-mile-an-hour road, and people do push the limits on those. I've seen great improvement doing this as far as the maintenance side, where we don't have to send graders out when it's hot and dry like this. It doesn't pay us to be out grading. We're just pushing rocks across the road and creating dust. With this MAG program that we've kind of developed, and with the help of the commission, I think this is a great program. And we did look at the Permazyme. The cost is about the same. I did question it when this was originally started. Their length of time they said that it would last was 10 years. I thought that was a big stretch and proved to be right in our area. Some areas it might work great. In our area it's not a 10-year road. If you got 2 years out of it, it's 2 years of maintenance you didn't have to put into it, which is still pretty good, but it's still very expensive to do. So as far as grading is going to go, it's going to be on a need basis. If most of it, when we have to grade now, is prepping for MAG. We have kind of worked with Gruber Excavating, who is our contractor, that they charge us basically $1.90 a foot. The increase was 91 cents, or 81 cents, pardon me, from last year, which is a significant increase. But with the grading, right now we were in a MOU with the city. The guys are back here doing those streets today as we speak. And that gets us into the fairgrounds, getting ready for that, the Lineman's Rodeo. While they're there, they're going to do the airport as well. The road going in there, there's been an awful lot of traffic in that area. To me, it's more than normal, which is putting a little bit more wear and tear on that road. Come next year, I think you're going to see a great improvement on there once we mill that airport up and lay those millings down. And those millings from the airport will go on that road once we get the final numbers, we'll know how much farther that'll be. I think that'll be a great improvement to that area as we continue to get busy. That brings me to culverts. A lot of you know that we've always had mud holes, like on Lower Deep Creek Lightning Barn, that intersection. And I'm sure you guys have gotten calls, and I've kind of got beat up on it, probably. But we did install a culvert in there and kind of tie that intersection in a lot better. And there will be no more mud hole at that point. The Highway 284 project, I think I mentioned this maybe a couple months ago, possibly. So there was a mastic project with a chip seal on top. It was under my impression that that was going to happen this year. After meeting with MDT, I was mistaken. It went to planning this year, and it will happen next year. I'm really looking forward to that because I don't know if many of you guys have driven the backside of the lake, but it is a dirty, rough SOB. The milling projects will be coming up again next year. We've got I-90 from the east side of Three Forks to the west side of the Three Forks, and we've got the airport for 2025. That pretty much gives you an update of what is happening around right now with the roadside. Do you guys have any questions on the roadside before we get into the fun stuff?
No, I do have an update though on the Old Town Bridge. So we've been held up there on the environmental side and also the historic bridge side. I was able to contact Army Corps engineers yesterday and found out that they're waiting on the Corps archaeologist to basically fill out her report and get that submitted. So that's where we're hung up. We were hoping that we'd be further ahead by now, at least have that the bid letting on that bridge, but we can't move forward till we get the Army Corps to complete their part of the project. So just thought I'd let everybody know that.
I guess on the bridge side of it as well, Tossin Bridge will be coming out next summer. I believe.
Is that I haven't heard if there was any.
That's a tentative.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for TJ. Update on Goose Bay. I knew you knew I was going to ask.
What would you like to know about Goose Bay? Goose Bay has been hauled on. We reshaped the road from the corner, so the first mile and a half we did not touch other than grading, reshaping the road. We did pull the shoulders, haul gravel on it from the corner to the campground, which is about 2.5 miles roughly. It actually held up very well. And we were having a real problem from the mailboxes, which is about 1 mile down, 1.25 miles down to the corner. So we couldn't hold it with the 4th of July traffic. As you guys know, Goose Bay is like mini town. So we actually went in, regraded the road, hauled material on it, and with the mag that I just ordered a couple days ago, I believe most of that is going to go there. Yeah. With anticipation of the Goose Bay Flat project coming in, tentatively that is 2025 best case scenario. Actual work date we'll be able to see anything is 2026, where we will have a new paved road going into the Goose Bay campground delivered by Western Federal Lands.
Correct.
County is not putting any more money into it after that, other than the maintenance of the upkeep on it if there's crack sealing, chip sealing, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
This has been a project.
I know.
By the time it gets started, it'll be a 10-year project when it was originally submitted to the FLAP program.
Yeah, 2017. But was it Talana Adams? The gal that now is running Western Federal Lands has really stepped up and done a fantastic job. And Andy White from the Department of Transportation worked really well with those folks, and so thanks to them for helping get this project over the finish line.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
That's it. Thanks, TJ. That's all I have.
All right. Well, Last item on our agenda, discussion decision, Public Works Director TJ Gravely closing the walk-in cans for solid waste at all sites.
So there's been a lot of discussion. TJ Gravely again, Public Works Director. There's been a lot of discussion since basically the beginning of the year as far as the avenue we needed to take to control our sites. Right now you have 24-hour access at all sites with the exception of Winston. Last October we did away with the walk-in can because of the abuse that was happening at our sites, constituting our site attendants and our truck drivers to spend several hours a week cleaning up these sites. One of the things that you guys asked me to do when we discussed last week was come up with a different option. As you guys can see, a lot of this stuff that is on the slideshow right now is things that people should be charged for. There's hazardous waste actually with oil and stuff in some of these sites. And these are our walk-in cans. And this is stuff that people are just throwing in. Where with the solid waste department being an enterprise fund, this is stuff you should be paying for. If you do not pay for this stuff, moving forward, it's gonna put a bigger burden on the rest of the community as far as what it's going to cost to, your assessment is going to go up to, because this isn't even actually figured into some of that stuff. This is stuff that we end up paying for out of the solid waste. And quite honestly, solid waste, as you guys well know, is in a kind of a tough situation where we need to do upgrades to our cans, we need to do upgrades to our trucks, our transfer station, the whole shebang. So a lot of this stuff, hopefully we can get to the ones from this morning on here that are coming up. The tires are being charged for. There's some of this stuff that people, if they would just bring it to the transfer station, they're not going to be charged for it. You'll see a metal desk coming up. They're not going to be charged for that. The wood, you're not going to be charged for that, but please, I beg you, just do not throw it on the ground. If you have a walk-in can, if the commission decides to leave the walk-in cans open, use them as they're intended. Do not use them as a yard sale. We have one of them that's kind of lined up real nice where they just laid it all out just beautifully. It looked like they were getting ready for a garage sale. So moving forward, if we were to close the walk-in cans after you guys have a discussion and decision possibly, the fuel savings alone on closing the walk-in cans would be $23,777. The wages just for hauling those cans would be $27,580.40. That brings us to a total of $51,357.80. Right now, you guys asked me to come up with an idea if you guys were to close these sites to extend the hours. Come up with a solution for closing the facilities down, or not closing the facilities down, but closing the walk-in cans down, not the facilities. I reiterate, not the facilities.
Thank you.
So one of the things you guys talked about was what is the peak hours? We did a week total of some of these sites, every site except for Cedar Street. So out of 4 sites in the week of July 8th through the 14th, we had a total of 298 visits. With, I'll give you Dry Gulch first, peak time on July. So Dry Gulch is open Saturdays and Sundays. On the Saturday, we had a total of 13 people. with the peak hours being 10 to 11, with the largest volume being a total of 5. On July 14th, we had a total of 19, with the largest volume being 7 between the hours of 1 and 2. So those numbers right there tell me that they're using the facility, but not very much, because it was asked if I would consider giving another day. The numbers that I'm seeing right there, I don't think at this point that constitutes another day for that site. Radersburg is a little bit more active. July 11th, you had a total of 21. Peak time was between 9 o'clock in the morning and 10, with the largest volume being 5 visits. July 13th was a total of 18. Largest volume was 5, between 11 and 12. So Towson and Radersburg, you're going to see in these that with them basically having access 4 days in a row in a kind of a concentrated area, it's kind of spread out. So Towson is the 12th with a total of 17 visits and the largest volume. This one kind of blew me away. It was between 2 and 3 o'clock, with the largest volume being 4 visits. That's not very many. July 14th, there was 26 between 9 and 10, and 10 and 11 being the same large volume of 6. Winston is the one that we closed the walking can in October, with the change closing the site of giving them 2 more days. What we did is we gave them a Tuesday, Thursday, and then their traditional Saturday, Sunday. So their Thursday was a total of 30 visits, which was kind of impressive for a Tuesday for a 4-hour set, or 4-hour site open, between 2 and 3 o'clock with 12. So you're not quite half, but it tells me that we've got a lot of downtime at these sites with our site attendants, so we're really not utilizing our time correctly. Maybe we need to adjust those hours a little bit. July 13th was 46 visits, and the largest volume was between 9 and 10 o'clock, and it was 16. July 14th, I believe, was a Sunday, total of 52 visits, between 11 and 12, with the largest volume being 19. That's kind of an active site for an hour right there. But July 16th, which was the Tuesday of this Tuesday, I'm sorry, total of 30 visits between 2 and 3, with largest volume being 12. So what I came up with, and this is just preliminary, this is something for you guys to discuss. You guys did ask me to figure out more hours. I'll tell you right now that we give more hours than anybody around us. Our large towns, our small towns, we still give more hours right now than anybody else. What I would propose, our Cedar Street site is open. So what I'm going to concentrate on right now is I'm going to concentrate into our most used areas. Your Winston, your Dry Gulch, your Towson, your Radersburg, I think those hours of service are fine. Our Cedar Street hours right now are from 10 to 6 for summer hours. I would propose going from 6 to 6 or 7 to 6. And our transfer station would be, so our transfer station is not open on Sundays. And on Saturday and Sunday, I think you guys kind of hit the nail on the head, where a lot of people are out cleaning up their yards. They want to take care of it on the weekend because they're busy during the week. Our Saturday at the transfer station is from 10 to 2. What I would propose for Saturday, Sunday is 10 to 6 for summer hours.
I'm sorry, TJ, did you say for Saturday?
Saturday and Sunday
And
are
Sunday,
going to be
okay.
10 to 6 if you guys decide to take action on this. One of the things I want to do is I want to keep it more streamlined for hours, so there's not any question moving forward, well, Cedar Street, you're 7 or whatever. I want to keep it very simple for people. They know these are our hours at most all of our sites. If you guys close these sites, I told you the total savings would be $51,357.80. Now, if we give more hours, as we're talking about, the extra hours at Cedar Street would be 20 hours a week, which would cost us about $15,600. If we do this at the transfer station, we would give an additional 12 hours and it costs us $9,360. And that gives you a grand total of $24,960. That still gives you a cost savings of $26,397.80. As I said before, we're in dire needs of upgrading some equipment. I was looking at the big number of the 51,000. That looks a whole lot better than the 26,000, but it's still 26,000 we can put towards either leasing a piece of equipment or possibly buying something on payments. What I anticipate if you guys decide to do this, I originally said I wanted all the walk-in sites closed by July 22nd. What I would anticipate now, after having these conversations, is August 1st, with the walk-in cans going away. With that being said, there will be cameras up. We're waiting on internet service to get better internet at our sites, and you will be on camera if you guys decide to close these. So if you throw your garbage out in front of the site, it will be gone through by our guys on the tipping floor, and you will be contacted by the local authorities, and you will be fined $500 per county statute.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions on any of this?
Let's see, I guess on Cedar Street, the proposed hours 6 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday. What about Sunday? Can we do something on Sunday?
On Cedar Street, I've got it at 10 to 6. That is actually what it is right now.
Okay, so Julie, just
So
leave it,
there was no change on Cedar
just
Street
leave
for
it,
Sundays.
leave it 10 to 6? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And all of our sites are closed on Monday.
Right.
Okay.
I think I kind of captured, what you guys asked me to do with extending hours.
Yeah.
To kind of accommodate, with us being pretty much a bedroom community, everybody travels out of here early in the morning. I can tell you right now, Cedar Street is very busy early in the morning. And late at night, I'm assuming it probably is as well. We did not pull Cedar Street just because it's such an active site. But if that's something you guys want, we can always do that. With that being said, if you guys decide to vote on this, you guys asked about moving the shack down to the gates, kind of relocation, and that would be done at that time.
Okay.
The other sites are probably going to stay where they're at for right now until we make other changes, if there's other changes warranted. But I do believe with our system that we're trying to implement right now with our hang tags or our clings, I think that it is important, as you guys mentioned, having our site attendant down at the gate, kind of guiding people where to throw their garbage. One of the things that I've discussed is these sites are used for household trash. Cedar Street does have a metal can, a tree can, and a grass can. The other sites, Winston has a metal can, but everything else is household trash. And with the new signage that's going up, I hope that the residents of Broadwater County would read the signs and kind of follow along by those. I understand that it's 3 miles out of your way to go to 370 Indian Creek Road, but that's what needs to be done. I've said this before that I compare ourselves a lot to these bigger towns. You're given hours. If you don't use those hours, you save it till the next week. We have kind of bent over backwards to extend hours, try to figure this out, but I think this is a good solution to start with. Any thoughts, questions, comments?
No, well, I mean, I think we have to have a starting place. I think this is a good place to start. As we move forward, we probably will be able to fine tune it if we need to. Thinking about Cedar Street especially, I know one of our concerns there is it's not lighted. So I think we'll have to consider that in the future. We're gonna have to figure out a way to get some lighting there to accommodate these hours of being open, because as we know, as we get closer to winter, it's gonna be dark in the morning and dark in the evening. And it's always our concern of our residents getting hurt in those areas or falling into the cans or things of that nature, and I think we're gonna have to do that, so.
Now, the hours that I give you will be summer hours.
Yeah.
I anticipate October 1st probably being your magic number as far as changing to winter hours. And, you know, come back around to April, I would say probably April 1st, we go back to summer hours.
Yeah, but the argument's gonna be, it doesn't matter whether it's winter or summer.
The argument's still there.
They're still
with
gonna
lighting.
have to, you know, have access, so we'll see how that goes come winter, especially Cedar Street I'm talking about mostly.
Yes,
Our outlying sites, I understand that. We don't have power available.
I do not have power available.
It's not even there, so, okay. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. You know, like, this is just kind of a continuation from the meeting we had last week, basically. And I expressed my thoughts then. I wrote down a few additional ones as we were moving into this week. We've talked about it. I know that I'm probably beating the dead horse, but you know, I guess I'll first start out. You know, I was a new commissioner when we first changed our solid waste program in was it 2019, and so it wasn't. It was a challenging time. If you're people that will remember that, it was a challenging time to make those changes then, and the concession that came out of that was the walk-in cans to still provide that 24/7 service. The deal that was made at that time was that if they would respect them and not abuse them, we would continue to provide that service. As we can see by these pictures, that hasn't happened, and we've been dealing with this for the past 5 years. And I guess at this point, maybe it's time to make that decision. It just doesn't seem like they're going to abide by that. And you know, I guess maybe the saddest part of the whole thing is it's the very small percentage of our residents or people that from outside the district that have caused this problem. So I think, you know, as a result, our Citizen and Solid Waste Advisory Board and the Commission, now we're faced with having to make this hard decision whether to preserve our solid waste system or to let it continue to deteriorate. I mean, that's how I look at this from my standpoint. I know there's going to be some growing pains as we move into the direction that we're heading. But like we mentioned, we'll make those adjustments so we can provide the best level of service for the lowest cost. But I think citizens need to bear in mind that as we provide more hours and more service, it just simply is going to cost more. So when we have the discussions here, which this is not the last discussion we'll be having on solid waste. We're going to have continued discussions between now and September. And our County Administrative Officer, Bill Jiraki, is going to be helping us on the financial end of that to make those decisions on what we feel that our assessment should be. So let's face it, our assessment hasn't changed since 2019. It's been the same. As we all know, that the cost has increased for us, the cost of fuel and food and all those things, that same cost is borne by our solid waste department. And so we're just going to have to make a change there. That's all we're going to have to do there. I guess maybe I'd like to just apologize to those that have respected and used the walk-in facility correctly, and that we are probably faced with making this decision. We truly had something that other communities didn't have, and so here we are. And I guess I'm just going to leave it at that. Commissioner Randolph.
Oh, a couple comments and questions. TJ laughs. Did I understand it correctly, TJ, that August, if this is approved, your proposal, August 1st, the shack at Cedar will be moved towards the entrance?
Correct.
But the other ones will not be moved? Will they be moved in the future?
Possibly. We have to see the direction that we end up going with. If we end up, it's no surprise that we're looking for different avenues. We've talked about a weigh and pay system and doing away with the assessment. We've talked about this. At that time, I would see that happening then. Or this is a work in progress, as you guys know. We're trying to accommodate the citizens of Broadwater County, and I think let's start with Cedar Street and see how it works. The numbers I gave you for the site visits for the other 4 outlying sites doesn't constitute a lot of traffic, or doesn't say there's a lot of traffic, so it can be manned a little bit different. With Cedar Street, there's 250 cars a day. For a week, we had 239 at the outlying sites, or 298, I'm sorry, at the outlying sites. Do I see us moving the shacks down? It can happen, but let's start with the first one and see where we go.
Well, I mean, it kind of rolls into, it rolls into another conversation that we need to have as far as we start to implement our cling, our tag system.
That's exactly.
Our attendants are going to have to interact with those folks.
And then once we get to that, I would agree that that needs to happen.
Yeah. I think it's better to have that interaction before they're on the site rather than after they are on the site. And I know we'll be talking about how, what type of grace period we're going to have for folks to allow them to, those that don't have a tag to purchase one or have not paid their assessment, give them an opportunity to get those paid. But I think that's important for us to be thinking about that.
And that's exactly where why I was asking questions about the shacks. It seems to me the decals go along with the shacks moving. So I would urge you to move the shacks as the decal program rolls out. I just think it goes hand in hand. We put a lot of pressure on our site attendants now with this new program, make it easier for them, and to better control what's going in those canister sites. And I just want to support the canister site employees as much as we possibly can. They're the ones that get face to face with people that are mad. We all do, but they are the point people for us. And the other thing I want to mention is just a comment as you were talking, and the letters, emails, phone calls that we've received. This is a great example of public comment making a difference in what we do, whether it be all the emails, all the phone calls, good and bad, nasty and nice. We have listened, we have taken the time. We all have a pile of emails we see. We had somebody walk in Thursday or Friday, and you and Misty happened to be there and answer the questions. So we're not rushing to any decisions. And so I thank you and Misty for the hours, changing the hours, adding some hours based on public demand or request. So if sometimes the public says we don't hear them, we do. This is a perfect example of you guys adjusting your program to try to help the residents. So I want to say thank you to the public and to you guys.
Right. You know, I think another thing too, part of our decision-making process is the data that's been driven from the work that Bill has done on the financial side for us to really make a good decision in our solid waste, knowing the direction we need to go to. As you mentioned, it is an enterprise fund. It's run exactly the same as a business would be. And if this was a business out there in the community, you would not be running it if you were losing money or not getting paid. So, thank you, Bill.
Before Bill came here, this probably would have been turned back to the county and said, here you go, you guys run.
Yeah. I guess I don't have any other comments.
I don't either.
Commissioner Rickmeyer's not here. Luckily he gets to skate out of this decision.
She picked a good week to be
But,
gone.
If
For
you
the
want me to
record.
speak for Commissioner Rickmeyer real quick, I can.
No, we're not going to speak for Commissioner Rickmeyer. But I know she's very well aware of where we're at and where we're going. So, all right. If there's no other further discussion or comments, is there a motion?
I will move to close all the walk-in sites at the solid waste locations on August 1st.
Okay, I will second that motion. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the walk-in sites at our solid waste sites beginning August 1st. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's put our plan into motion. When do you believe that we'll be able to start the new hours starting August 1st?
Yes, I'm hoping
Is that our
will
plan?
work.
Okay.
So with that being said, this maxes us out as
Right.
far as being able to cover them with the guys that we have available.
Right. You know, so this is kind of internal conversation, but we can still have it. We do need to probably advertise for some fill-in folks that can pick up the hours, because not everybody can make their shift all the time, as we very well know, circumstances that arise. So you get some of those folks on board, and as in the past, they actually lead to better opportunity. So.
Hopefully this will work when we do advertise. Last time we had 2 and
Yeah.
basically hired both of them.
Yeah.
So
All right.
If I could add one more thing, I forgot, I'm looking at my notes. With this change in hours, I think we need to do everything we possibly can to get that information out to the public.
Thank you for that.
So, a press release to the newspaper, talk to the newspaper. It doesn't cost very much for a little ad every week or whatever. I know MT43 will work with you. And update the website.
Well, we have this new letters going out. That'd
Yep.
be a great opportunity to include this information in the letters that are being sent out. Those little cards that you guys made are fantastic. If we could get some made with those hours on it and included with that letter in the envelope, people can put on their fridge or whatever, that'd be very helpful, I think, as well.
we can do that, but we're not going to make them magnetic.
Don't make it.
No. Yeah. And
No, we don't need to do
we'll
that.
think of ways to get the word out, because it's a change, and it's a big change.
It is a big change, and hopefully it doesn't result in a lot of cleanup for our guys.
I think that's the inevitable at the beginning.
It will.
There's going to be the resistance.
Yep.
And
Cameras will
just need
take
to
care
be
of that.
prepared for that. We went through that 5 years ago.
Yep.
And that's, like I said, it's a small portion of our community that thinks that way. But
And
we'll
we-
deal with it.
And we have some good email list that we can email people,
We do.
the new hours. BCDC has a wonderful, and they're very gracious, they send out emails for free. We have a good email list for our agendas. Let's just get creative and think of any ways to let the public know.
Will do. I guess I'm bummed out as much as anybody. I was a great user of the walk-in site. I appreciated it.
I was as well.
I know. I mean, a lot of us were. So we'll move forward. All right.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, TJ.
I think that's the last item on our agenda.
Could I add
Is that
something
right?
I failed in public comment?
Yeah.
The Broadwater County Museum Board had a longtime board member resign, Chuck McLean. So there will be an opening on the museum board. If you're interested, let us know. Or let Linda at the museum know. And we want to thank Chuck for his years of participation.
Yeah, that's kind of a board where not many people, not many changeover. They
It's a
enjoy,
really fun
They
board.
enjoy
It
being on
is.
that board, so that's pretty cool. All right, we'll move on to claims. I have claims in the amount of $20,070.44.
I would move to approve the claim in the amount of $20,070.44.
Yes. I'll second that motion. Motion's made and seconded to pay a claim in an amount of $20,070.44. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'll just gather them up and give them to you.
How's that? You gotta make sure the tape matches the, yeah, there it is, okay. So claims in the amount of $148,831.05.
Would move to approve the claims in the amount of $148,831.05.
Motion, I will second that motion. Motion made and seconded to approve the claims in the amount of $148,831.05. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Have payroll amount of $292,243.48.
I would move to approve the payroll claims in the amount of $292,243.48.
I will second the motion. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the payroll claim in the amount of $292,243,000. No.
No, it's late.
$294,243.48.
Yeah.
Expensive payroll, wouldn't it? Okay, motion made and seconded to approve payroll amount of $292,243,048.48. Is there any public discussion? Any public discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 2 letters to read. One from DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality, intent to issue a 401 water quality certification for the project listed in this notice, and that is for the Broadwater Hydroelectric Project. Federal Energy Regulatory Commission number 2853. So if you have interest in that, that will be in the Commissioner's office. Also received a letter from the DUI Task Force pleased to inform you that the County DUI Task Force plan for July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 has been approved. Anything else to come before the Commission?
I don't have anything.
Okay. If not, we're adjourned. 11:21.